At Manhattan University, a graduate degree is not out of reach. You'll gain real-world skills, credentials employers value, and connections to New York City's top companies. Choose from their new Master of Science degrees in Healthcare Informatics, Digital Marketing and Analytics, Business Analytics, or Financial Analytics, all built around hands-on learning and industry partnerships. Graduate ready to lead, not just work. Take the next step at manhattan.edu/graduate. Manhattan University. Lead the future.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
That now iconic photo, racking up millions of online views, capturing an NYPD chief leaping over a barricade in a single bound to take down one of the wannabe terrorists from Saturday here in New York City. Dominic Carter here with you. The number to reach me live. We see your calls coming in right now, 800-848-9222. Imagine how differently this could have been handled in a positive way. From the mayor. What a statement that Mamdani could have made if, for example, he had hosted those two hero cops instead of a terrorist sympathizer at Gracie Mansion 24 hours after all of this happened. If he had brought to Gracie Mansion NYPD Chief Aaron Edwards, who jumped over the barricade to tackle one of the suspects, and Sergeant Luis Navarro. They literally leapt into action to nab the two men outside the mayor's official residence. So having the two finest, for example, at a Gracie Mansion meal the next evening, would have signaled major respect for the men and women in blue who keep the city safe, and it would have been a rejection of the hateful brand of Islam that inspired the suspects. And I'm not saying all of Islam is bad. I'm saying the part that inspires guys and women to do bad things. But the mayor chose instead to make a public point, that is, of hosting this anti-Israel organizer, Mahmoud Khalil, for a Ramadan dinner to mark the 1-year anniversary of his initial detention in a deportation case. And it's still ongoing. And so, again, these guys are heroes, the NYPD folks that didn't think twice, on the other hand. Mahmoud Khalil is an ex-Columbia University graduate student, infamous for his anti-Israel and pro-Hamas activism. His arrest by ICE and his pending deportation case over an apparent green card fraud. I want you to listen to part of a story from ABC News about the suspicious items linked to the two teens found at a storage unit outside Philadelphia.
This is the moment the FBI blew up suspicious items found at a storage unit outside Philadelphia. Investigators say they contained explosive residue and were linked to the two teens charged with attempting to carry out an ISIS-inspired attack in New York. One of the teens seen here hurling a homemade bomb that tested positive for the explosive TATP. Police say a second device the teen ignited before running down the sidewalk and leaping over a police barrier was also a potentially viable explosive.
We were fortunate that the devices used this weekend did not cause the kind of harm that they were certainly capable of causing.
Federal prosecutors say the teens made statements referring to ISIS, and when an investigator asked one of them if he wanted to accomplish something like the Boston Marathon bombing, he replied, no, even bigger. It was only 3 deaths.
How worrying is it that a couple of guys from Bucks County can just drive into Manhattan with potentially viable devices?
Some individuals will mobilize to violence without tripping the wires that we extensively set.
The attempted attack left the NYPD on edge. Today, the bomb squad spent more than an hour investigating a suspicious item near the mayor's residence.
And so let's go ahead and open up the phone lines, 800-848-9222. Here's something I want you to think about. It's all in the question for the journalists. And this reporter, to her credit, it's going to sound very simplistic. But folks, it's not about being simple. It's about getting these phony politicians out of their comfort zone, getting them to say what they don't want to say. And so this reporter, in terms of her question, it was genius. So nobody can get Mamdani to say anything, to mention anything about Islamic ideology by name. Instead, what he always does is he punts by saying he's against all violence, right? So listen, folks, I need you to listen carefully to how he's asked about the ISIS-inspired Muslims who attacked Americans Saturday. And again, even in the way that the reporter, if you will, set him up to make him say something about Islamic ideology, he absolutely did not.
So given that both of the alleged attackers at Gracie said they were inspired by ISIS, and given New York City's sort of perennial status as a soft target, I was wondering if you had any, words of advice to any young people who might find themselves being drawn to that particular ideology.
I think first and foremost, just to make it clear to everyone that extremism and hatred of any kind will not be tolerated in our city. And that is regardless of whatever ideology motivates any person to commit an act of violence. There is no tolerance for it here. What we want to deliver to New Yorkers is a city that is safe, is a city that believes in the values where everyone who calls it home is considered to be a part of it. There is no tolerance for any kind of violence within that vision of our city or the way in which we lead this city.
Thanks.
So notice how slick the mayor of New York City is when he's asked specifically as it relates to Islamic ideology. He does not name it by name. Instead, he's against all violence. But when it came to his initial statement, he had no problem stating that the protest was organized by a white supremacist. So when it's anything else besides what he wants to talk about, he has no problem doing it. But if you want him to mention Islamic ideology, it is not going to happen. One member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs in Congress, Florida Congressman Randy Fine, says he has an answer, that is, to New York's problem.
Well, I have one word. It's deport. I mean, the fact of the matter is Mamdani hates America, hates the Judeo-Christian civilization that we have here. We're allowed to protest whatever we want. We hear this all the time from the left. When they were doing all this ridiculous stuff on our college campuses, people like this jerk mayor talked about how they had a First Amendment right to say whatever they want. That's not the issue. The issue is two Muslim terrorists who were inspired by ISIS, who traveled to the Middle East, threw bombs at people. That is the issue. You're allowed to say whatever you want in this country. You're not allowed to throw bombs. But Mamdani is covering for the Muslim terrorists that he supports, whether it's in the Middle East or whether it's in America. He should be stripped of his citizenship and he should be deported.
And frankly, folks, that's the only way out of this. The only way. Because the governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul, incumbent Democrat, she's in the fight of her life up against Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. She's not going to do anything. The first rule, anything to hurt herself, the first rule for any politician is self-preservation. Keep your job. She moves on Mamdani. She's the only one that can take him from office, and she can kiss her reelection campaign goodbye. And Mamdani knows he has that over her head. Let's start with your telephone calls. Line 1, Linda in New Jersey. Linda, good morning. What's on your mind?
Hello. Good evening, Dominic. I would like to say we have to get rid of Islam in the Western countries. In London, you can even open up a tea shop without being attacked for accusation of racism. If you're a Londoner, if you're an Englishman, you can't open up a tea shop. I mean, it's gone. And I don't want that to happen here. The West has a really bad case of Islamic fatigue right now. I don't know. Here they want to open up Islamic cities with Sharia law. I mean, they're trying to do that in Texas with Epic City. I mean, I have Islamic fatigue. I can't take it anymore. I don't know how they got in here, how they infiltrated so far into this country.
You know the
get rid of them.
You know the answer, Linda.
Well, there's a lot of sellouts.
A weak Democrat Party. That's how.
Yeah.
That's how.
Yes, absolutely.
The bottom line is we have a big problem. We have a big problem here in New York, and it's gone from bad to worse with this mayor. You know, a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he runs around and he's smart. The truth is, to ill-informed voters, his base, he runs around smiling to the Black and Latino community, and they eat it up. Why do they eat it up? Because he says free, free, free. And there is nothing about this man that is free. He wants to even charge you now to park in Manhattan. A straight-up con, a bait and switch. He ran on a platform one way, and now he's in office. It's completely another situation. Linda, you have the final word before I move on.
I would say his smile never looked real to me.
Right, but see, the problem is, Linda, you don't vote in the city of New York. He's
I
got
left it
people
30 years ago.
Well, okay, but he's got but it was a different demographic base 30 years ago. The base now happens to be, for lack of a better term, a large part of the electorate is ill-informed people that are just voting for their picture, who they like, who's going to promise them more free stuff. That's how low we've come down to as a society. Who's going to give them more free stuff? Linda, thank you for the great call. Let's go to Michael, line 2 on the east side of Manhattan. Michael, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic. I'm sorry. There are still old clips of Mandami when he was a teenager in college, promoting Students for Justice in Palestine. That was an organization that was funded by a terrorist group, CAIR, CARE.
Okay, but Michael, but why is that relevant now? And I've got to take a break. Well, you know what? Why is it relevant now? These are all things you should have been ringing the alarm bell about during the campaign.
Let me
No, Michael, I've got to take a break. When I say I got to take a break, that means that the clock is ticking. So you got to make your point quick, or you're going to have to either hold on. If you want to hold okay, I'm not going to debate with you. We're going to take a break. You can hold on if you want to, Michael. We're coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back. I was just chatting with Michael in Manhattan. So, Michael, we already know this mayor has a bad background, some of the questionable things he's done. Why do you feel this is relevant now?
It's relevant because it explains why he has not said a bad thing about...
You don't think we already know why, Michael?
I'm sure you do, but the point is that unless this is really in the headlines, it's not going to mean anything. Like you say,
even if it's Michael, wait a minute. Even if it's in the Michael, if it's in the headlines, what is it going to mean? So any second you're going to get mad and hang up. But if it's in the headlines, what does it mean?
I don't get mad.
Yeah, you do. You do it quite frequently, and you hang up. And to be honest with you, your judgment is questionable. Your judgment is questionable because during the snowstorm, you called up and you said that there was no snow in the city in Manhattan, and the city was facing a blizzard.
I see. So I'm not a weatherman.
Right, but you called up with information that was accurate, that was not accurate, and was false. Michael, why is this relevant? Can you get to the point and just, because I'm regretting taking your call right now. What's the point you're trying to make?
Promoting the caliphate of the Islamic movement. That's why in there's a city in New Jersey that only has Islamic Community Board members and mayors in other cities. And look what's going on in London.
We already know that, and we know. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call, Michael. I can't take it anymore. The voters in London warned New York about. Let's go to Sherman in Manhattan on line 1. Sherman, what's on your mind?
I want to thank you for your courage and your baseballs being polite on the air, for having the courage to have these conversations and not be scared to talk about what we need to be talking about all the time. In my opinion, Black Americans are mainly responsible for voting the mayor into office because they are so brainwashed and obsessed with racism and living in the past, and they are so delusional to think that this Arab Muslim mayor cares about Black Americans. If you look at history, and I know you, and I respect your show, and I'm not going to get into a long thing, I'm just say for a few seconds. History has shown us Arabs have no respect for Black Americans, whether they're Africans or Black Americans. If you look at history, they have slaughtered people of color, Black Americans, Africans, wherever they go. Egypt was all Black until the Arabs went in there. I can go on and on. You look at any deli that an Arab works in or owns, they never have any Blacks working in there making those sandwiches. Even in Black neighborhoods, they'll have a Spanish guy who can't speak English working in there before they have a Black person in there touching the food. Arabs have no respect for Black Americans. And the bottom line is this. We have to, in my opinion, sir, respectfully, it's time for you to go harder. They have some billboards in Harlem. One is on 125th and Lenox Avenue. Please look into putting your show, posting and advertising your show there. You are the person that has to start talking and getting more inroads to Black Americans and telling them like it is, because they know you're not a punk. When they meet you, they're going to know you ain't scared. And so you got to be the guy.
Sherman, I'm up against a break. I'll give you the option of holding. I got to do another short segment. It's going to be a few minutes, but I'd like to continue this conversation, and we're going to get to the other calls. 800-848-9222. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back, and I was just chatting with Sherman in Manhattan. So, Sherman, you said to me that I've got to go harder and go stronger to basically expose what's going on. But I really want to ask you something, and I think that you're uniquely qualified to help me in this situation here. So, for example, if you look at my Instagram, right? So we're doing phenomenal numbers in terms of the post. But if I say anything that's anti-Democrat, that's anti-free, meaning free stuff, what I'm trying to say to you, Sherman, is that our people are so lost. And so, some of the stuff online, I know that, it's keyboard warriors. But so like a woman tonight posted on my Instagram, who is this coon? And normally they are referring to me. And, there are two ways to handle this. Either you completely ignore it, but I'm not one to ignore things like that. And so what I said to her, Sherman, I said, ma'am, and of course she's not going to respond. I said, ma'am, you don't know anything about me. And I said, I find it very interesting. Do you criticize my white colleagues like this, or do you just reserve this for me? And then I said, you don't even have an idea how strong the self-hatred is that you have in yourself. And I said, ma'am, I'm the first one in my family to go to college. I've done things the right way. And of course, I don't owe her an explanation. But Sherman, for lack of a better term, what is wrong with our people? I'm looking at a tweet right now. Let me pull a tweet from Debbie Lobato. Staten Island, right? Debbie's a great woman. Let me pull it up here. And she said, and she's right. She says, Dominic, people vote as if they're on a dating site. Explain this to me, Sherman, how we can just go for the okie doke. This guy, Mamdani, he's not going to do anything for these people. And they think that he's Michael Jackson.
My response to that is very simple and direct. I have a friend of mine who said this to me, and he made it more aware for myself. Black Americans, they are very cruel. We're very cruel to each other, and a lot of that stems from a serious level of subconscious hate. A lot of black folks don't want to be black, and they don't want to admit it, and they're so angry at people like yourself who are comfortable being who you are, who are not running from yourself, who are being totally honest. And I want to say this right on the air. All these people that are talking like that to you, in my opinion, speaking for myself, I'd like to sincerely say to them, they can all go F themselves. If it's up to me, they can.
I come close to saying it online, Sherman.
Huh?
I come close to saying that online.
Right.
And my wife will snatch my phone when I'm ready to respond.
Right. And let me say this to you. It's unfortunate that with all the work you have to do, a lot of people think this is a joke what you're doing. This is a hard job. You must be exhausted.
Extremely hard.
And so for people to take the time out of their lives to want to be nasty and mean to you like this is so absurd. It's so evil. It's so petty. But black Americans seem to be very comfortable being so evil and petty and mean with each other. But they won't go out their way to uplift you. And I guarantee you get 9 bad things said about you compared to one nice thing. They don't have the courage. They don't have because that's another thing in the black community. There's no compliments. There's nothing nice to say. They go out their way to want to say something bad about you and always want to say all these old nasty racial, the N-word exists because of the black community. I have never ran into anyone white that's using the word. It's always black Americans. They try to act like it's a joke. So most of the dysfunction is coming from us.
Well, do me a favor here, Sherman, before I let you go, and I appreciate your patience. So Dave in Comac wants to work my last nerve by, he wants to get on. He likes to call me up. I don't know why he likes to call me up. And he likes to attack Trump. I'm going to bring you guys on both live together. So let's see if Dave's got the same cojones talking to you, Sherman. So, Dave, what's on your mind? And you're on live with Sherman right now.
How are you, Sherman and Dominic?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Dave?
How do you like paying $8 a gallon for gasoline like they're paying in California?
It's unfortunate that $8 is what it is now.
You know what it is?
$8.
Because this is a war over oil.
Can I finish my point, Dave? I'll take the $8 if they get rid of these animals over there that kill and abuse women on a regular basis. Sometimes
you're not going to get rid of those animals. You're not going to get rid of the nukes. They'll get it from Russia, Korea, and China, and Pakistan.
Possibly they might, but it will.
They will if they haven't already, because Russia's already telling them where our ships are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Dave. First of all, gas. Dave. Gas is not $8
in California. It is
$5 out, $5 to $6 a gallon.
Okay, so Dave, what is your point? You call up Dave. Let me finish. Dave, let me finish. You call up night after night. You're the absolute worst Trump hater I've ever encountered. All because you couldn't use the bathroom in Trump Tower.
Oh,
so what is your point?
To this conversation, please don't even go there.
Okay, okay. Well, how did I know that information? You brought it
I'm
up.
not going to comment on that, Dominic. We're not going to
Of
go
course
down that
not,
road.
because you're an imbecile. Because you couldn't go. Who do you think you are? You think you're just going to walk into Trump Tower and use the restroom?
We're not going to discuss bathroom behavior in reference to Trump's
Who
war
brought
on
it up?
Iran.
Wait, first of all, you know what? Meet Mr. Click. Since you're going to tell me, cut him off, please, Blaze. Since you're going to tell me what we're going to discuss, you don't have that liberty, homeboy. Don't go there. Don't try and get cute with me, because I'll never take your call again if you do. All right, and you'll have to find another show. Hey, Sherman, I really appreciate you being kind enough to, and those they don't bother me, but I guess subconsciously they do, Sherman, because it's like I work so hard, man. I've been working for 40 years, and these people that don't know nothing about me, I'm from the same community they're from. I've had to overcome more than what they've had to overcome, and they're sitting there, keyboard warrior, talking, you know what, caca. And it's just, Sherman, thank you for agreeing. I'll let you get the final word. Go ahead, Sherman.
Thank you. I want to say this specifically to Dave. He needs to take his viciousness and his vendetta out of the way and look clearly at Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Clinton, Hillary Clinton, or the husband and wife team. They are all triple disasters. They are nowhere. They can't touch Trump with a 10-foot pole. I'll take Trump and all his faults over these people any day and night. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Sherman. Thank you for the call. Let me focus on Dr. Phil for a moment before I go to another one of your calls. Dr. Phil taking issue with the mayor of New York City's wife. She, of course, during October 7th, the horrible situation, 1,200 Israelis lost their lives to these animals. And she liked posts that were against Israel. And what did the mayor say? This is the love of my life. And he just poo-pooed the whole thing. This guy is something else, right? He is something else. So this is Dr. Phil's take on the mayor's wife.
Let's be clear. These are not simply pro-Palestinian posts. These are posts that minimize, rationalize, and deny atrocities committed against Jews.
My wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person.
Calling these private doesn't cut it. You don't get public power and private anonymity at the same time. Don't pretend the First Lady's views don't influence the mayor. I'm a social scientist, and decades of social science research show that spouses influence each other's thinking and behavior. Researchers at Oxford studying long-term relationships found that partners' lives become linked and mutually influential over time. The studies published in the Journal of Marriage and Family show spouses shape decision-making through emotional influence, advice, and reinforcement of beliefs. In other words, first spouses carry a lot of weight.
Very interesting from Dr. Phil there. Let's go to line 1, John in Hell's Kitchen. John, good morning. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. Listen, man, I don't want you to feel bad because we're in a divide and conquer situation, and what you're going through with people making comments to you, I'm going through in my neighborhood where people of color that I've known for years are now calling me, you can't believe what they're calling me. I know them. I know their children. I knew their parents. We had Obama the other day at Jesse Jackson's funeral when the family explicitly asked them not to talk politics, get up and start talking about white supremacy. We're in a divide and conquer. This guy Mondami, okay? The other day, we had a terrorist attack on this land 25 years from 9/11, and he's calling it white supremacy. So when people that are ignorant, that are stoned, that want free, that don't want to hear nothing, that want a handout, Dominic, I grew up in the Bronx like you did, and I used to remember walking on the Grand Concourse with my mother and father, Lord rest their souls, and I remember encountering Adam Clayton Powell, the father, and he used to say, I don't want to hear nothing. Show me what's in your hand. Show me what you're going to do. The problem, Dominic, and my heart goes out to you because you do honestly speak. I can't imagine the messages you get. But
no, believe it or not, John, 99% of them are positive. 99% are positive.
I know, but you do mention the ones that slip in, like you have mentioned a couple of times when words. That's what I mean. I don't mean that listen, people like you, Dominic. You're doing ratings. You're blowing it up. You're on the radio. You're talking to the country. You know, I agree with Sherman, but the time has come, Dominic. You know, I had a dinner one time with Harry Belafonte, who in my estimation was a great man. He did a lot of great things. He was an advocate. And he told me at this dinner to my face that he hated Obama because Obama used everyone and did nothing. And remember,
absolutely. And Reverend Jackson.
I'm going to.
I hear you, John. I got to step on to get to some other calls. But to your point, you're absolutely correct. I'm telling you what I know. Reverend Jackson hated Obama's guts. I had at least 10 conversations with Reverend Jackson, one-on-one, where he called Obama using profanity. I shouldn't say, I'm not going to tell, but he used words against Obama. You wouldn't believe the things that he had to say about Obama. Let's go to line 2, Steve in New York. Steve, what's on your mind?
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Steve, are you okay? You sound you okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, Steve, you're talking very low. You got to pick it up, or I got to go to the next call.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead, man. You're wasting airtime. Go ahead.
I wanted to know your opinion on how is it possible that people from 9/11, people from the same family, were able to.
It's very hard to hear you. You've got to speak up. Or I'm going to say it for the last time. Either speak up or I'm going to the next call.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah. I don't know why you're talking. You lose his call. I don't know why you're calling talk radio, and I guess your wife is next to you or whoever, and you can't speak up. But it makes no sense here. Let's go to Isaac, line 3 in Brooklyn. Isaac, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Dominic. Thank you so much for taking my call. Listen, I told him I want to talk about the Iran war, and I'm just letting you guys know that I was there for the first, I'm going to say 6 days of the war, 7 days. I got back Sunday on an American evacuation flight, and the horrors that go on in Israel.
Okay, Isaac, Isaac, you've called up saying some despicable things to me, and now you think because you're talking low that I don't realize who it is?
I told you it was me.
No. What I'm saying, you just bypassed my point. You've called up saying some despicable things in the past. Why do you keep obsessing about this show? There are so many other shows. Why do you obsess about this one?
So, as you know, I did not call you in at least a half a year.
Okay, no, you were barred from calling. What is your obsession with this show? Answer my question, please.
You are a very good journalist.
Okay, but that's not what you say when you want to be on the attack. Okay, so I would stay with your call, Isaac, right now. You can call in the future. It's just that I really do have to take a break. And folks, a number of you have said, well, Dominic, how come you have to take a break? Because we have hard network outs. We're airing across America. We can't blow past these breaks, folks. And I know you think you're into a great point, so like one's coming up right now. But I know you think you're into a great point, but we have to hit these breaks. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are going back to your telephone calls, but the point I was trying to make, so our social media team, and I'm not the one that posts these things. You have a bunch of people that they handle stuff like this on our behalfs. So they posted something from me, or about me, talking about the mayor's wife, and it's been up for about 5 hours, and it already has 150,000 views. So you're going to get a diversity of opinions on something like that, but I just don't get it, you know. See, I'm not saying you know what? I've always been a straight shooter, so why should I change now? Why is it that 99% of the people are positive, including African Americans, but you have a small percentage of blacks? And Chris Rock put it best in the skit that he did where he said, I love my black people, but oh, do I hate? Chris Rock was so correct. And so point after point, you coon, you Tom, this, that, all because I support President Trump. Instead of saying this brother is from us, this brother rose from nothing. This brother was educated in some of the best institutions in the country, and we should be behind him. But instead, crabs in a barrel, you want to try and pull me down. When at the end of the day, you're not going to pull me down. I'm going to be frank with you. Look at my life and look at their lives. And you got the nerve to hate. Let's go to line 4, Vincent in Brooklyn. Good morning, Vincent. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. These people, these haters that post these bad things about you, they should want to emulate you, and they should teach their children and grandchildren to emulate your success and your industry and everything. I heard that dialogue that went on between that professional Trump hater from Long Island and elegant Mr. Sherman. And what the professional Trump hater from Long Island forgot to leave out, that gas is $7 and $8 in California because they have all those taxes out there on the gasoline so that they could pay for junkies to shoot up and to give alcoholics booze and to do every other thing that is bringing down their society. Over here in New York City, gas is only about 20 cents more expensive than it was at the beginning of the last summer. And I could tell that Trump hater out there in Long Island that you could bet your bottom dollar, buddy, that by the time the travel season begins, when school is out, even before then, gas is even going to go down further. Everything is going to be back to normal. And he was talking about Russia is giving the GPS locations of all our ships, and what are they going to do? Shoot putty blowers and paper clips at them? How are they going to get to them? They don't have any armaments. Every time those stupid people in Iran send up a missile or whatever they send up, our GPS satellites with radar pinpoint that destination where they're shooting that stuff from, and they send a missile right in those dudes' house. So he doesn't know what he's talking about. He just wants to get on the air and dump on Trump. That's why gas is so
correct. You're correct, Vincent. And you know what? I'm going to be straight with you, Vincent. If I wasn't so tired right now, then these fools would not get to me. It's just that I'm very tired. And when I get and it's not professional for me to admit that I'm tired, because I'm supposed to go on full speed at all times.
Dominic,
but that's just not human.
You're a human being, man. You're a human being. You could only take so much, and also you have some minor health issues. So, hey, it's okay, man. You're a human
but I'm
being.
not the one, because I want to tell them so bad they can kiss my black you know what.
I know
hey,
what.
Vincent,
And
thank you for the great call. Susan, line 1, Manhattan. Susan, you got 15 seconds. I do apologize. Go right ahead.
Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning.
I was published today in the Post about Mondami's wife. Quickly,
Susan, you got now 10 seconds. You got to get to the point.
Is anyone surprised that the wife was anti-Semitic? And I said in the end,
no, Susan, listen, I'm sorry to cheat you here. I want you to call me tomorrow night. You can call a 3 p.m. show or tomorrow, and I'll try and make you the first call. Folks, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to have a great day, and I want you to stay positive.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.